We're back with part two of establishing how you can grow your business quickly by determining how much you can afford to spend to acquire a new customer. That's the magic number. When you know that number, you can start kicking some tail. All right, let's get into it. So the next thing you have to know is your profit margin. Now, why am I talking about profit margin in establishing how much you can spend to acquire a customer? Well, you got to know this number and you need to know it accurately. Now, you may or may not be exactly precise to the penny or to the the 10th decimal place, but you got to get close. So you got to know your profit margin. In a simple example here, let's clear these numbers. Let's see. Boop, 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 boop. All right, you have a simple little formula here to figure out what your profit margin is, and that formula goes like this. You take your job revenue, and you subtract your cost of goods sold, and you subtract your overhead, and that equals your profit. Okay? So revenue minus cost of goods minus your overhead. What does that mean? Okay, let's keep it really simple. Here's where a lot of people get goofed up. Well, let's start with going, we've got a $1,000 job. So that's 100, not 1,000. How about this? Actually put in 1,000, and your cost of goods sold, the main number in this cost of goods is your labor. Okay? Your labor. And understand, please understand, that the money, if you're cleaning windows and you're doing the work yourself, then the money you pay yourself is not profit. Okay? Whatever you pay yourself to do the work is part of your labor cost. Now, here's a good way to look at that. Go, what would it cost to replace you? What would it cost to replace you in the field? So if you would have to pay a guy 20 bucks an hour to do the work you're doing, and probably they wouldn't be able to handle it, but this is an example, then if you're paying yourself $20 an hour, that 20 bucks is not profit. 20 hours not profit. That 20 hours just labor, okay? So you need to make sure and keep that crystal clear, and you'll see why as we go along. Okay, so let me back up here. So in your cost of goods, that's what we're looking at, okay, you've got the cost of labor. Let's pretend you have an employee that does the work. That'll keep it clean and simple. Or if you're doing the work, you're paying yourself to do that. It's your labor cost, whatever that is, 20 bucks an hour. All right, just play pretend with me. Okay, also, you're doing payroll, and you're paying them correctly, and that means you're paying taxes. So your payroll tax is part of that number, payroll tax. Yay, hooray for taxes, right? And then you also have to pay workers' comp. Okay, you got that number. And then if there are any costs associated with doing that precise job, let's say you have to rent a lift, or you have chemicals because you're power washing, or I can't spell that, so we'll leave it there. Chemicals, or any other things that are specific to that job. Maybe there's some fuel cost or something like that. There can be a lot of different things that fall under cost of goods, but the primary ones are labor, payroll taxes, workers' comp, and any expenses that are specific to that job. Putting money in the parking meter, things like that. All right, we'll leave it at that. So that's your cost of goods. Next, you have to know what's your overhead. What is your overhead? Whoops, I did something wrong. Overhead. Here, your overhead. We have a warehouse and we pay a mortgage. Okay, for you it might be rent. It's your insurance, your liability insurance, your automobile insurance, things of that nature. If you got, whatever insurance you've got, not workers' comp, that's part of the cost of goods. Okay, maybe you have utilities, maybe you have equipment. That's tricky. We're going to keep it in overhead right now. Equipment and some supplies, not really. Most supplies, I'm sorry, go over here. Anyway, you got, what else do you have? You got a cell phone, you got internet, things like that. Things that you have to pay as a cost of doing business. So your insurance, if you've got an office manager or office person, office worker, okay, that's all part of your overhead. It's not part of your cost of goods. So in our business, let me give you some numbers. And these are ballpark, but on average, our cost of goods is about 50% of the job. It's actually a little bit less than that, but we'll just go with 50% to keep it simple. And our overhead is roughly 20%. Okay, so guess what? That leaves us 30% of the revenue is profit. All right, what does that look like in real life numbers? Our cost of goods, we're going to go 50%, which is 0.5. And then I did something wrong because that's 50 cents. I'll change my formula up a little bit. Bear with me just a second. We'll go. I have to change this formula. Give me just a sec, and I'll just change it. Did something wrong. Okay. It's going to equal this. That's your job revenue minus cost of goods minus overhead. Okay. So cost of goods here. Oh, 50%. It was me messing up. 50% of 1,000 is $500. And the overhead, 20% is $200. That gives us $300 of profit. Hooray! Okay, so this example, we have a 30% profit margin. That's my money. That's after I paid all my labor and all my office and overhead. Then we got $300 left over. All right, so this profit margin is going to come critical as we get into the next video to understand exactly how much we can pay to acquire a customer. And that's where the magic starts happening. See you there.